Hey everyone, welcome to the third video in our series on the term paper. This is the writing the paper video. So let's get started. As I mentioned in video one, this is a 5-paragraph paper that you're going to be writing, and it's structured this way. You start off with an introduction. So the first thing you want to do is contextualize the period that the paper is about. I'll give you a hint. Write about the founding of the two colonies. A couple sentences about the founding of Jamestown, a couple sentences about the founding of New England. That'll cover your contextualization. Then, just like English has a counter argument, since we're writing a paper about the differences between the colonies, we are going to put in a couple sentences about something that you found that is similar between them. We do want to acknowledge that there are some similarities. And I even gave you the start to that sentence. You can use this in your paper. While Jamestown and New England shared a common blank, and then go on to explain that in 2 to 3 sentences. Finally, talk about your thesis. The great thing is it's already written. At the end of our first video, I had a template for a fill-in-the-blank thesis. There were 3 blanks for your 3 areas of comparison, and then as many blanks as you needed for your explanation of why the colonies were different. So go back to that thesis, you plugged your information in, and you've got your introduction complete. Just a style note, when you're writing your essay, you always start with Jamestown, then New England, because Jamestown historically occurred first. So when you're doing Jamestown, New England, always do it in that order. Okay, let's talk about body paragraphs. First, second, and third are all the same, so I'm just going to go through this here. We're going to construct them like FRQs using T. So the first sentence is your paragraph thesis, which in this case is a topic sentence. That's where you just clearly state what of the topics you're doing. Is this the government paragraph, the society, the economics, or the culture? The E stands for historical evidence. So you always lead in Jamestown first with your evidence from your class notes about Jamestown, then your supplemental research about Jamestown, your class notes about New England, then your supplemental information research about New England. That's your evidence. Then your argument is already written as well. You did that in the pre-writing worksheet. It consists of 2 parts. You're going to describe the difference between the 2 colonies that your evidence illustrates, and then you're going to have a second statement where you explain why that difference occurs. So that's how a body paragraph looks. That's what your first, second, and third will be structured as. Your conclusion, you just restate your thesis and have some ending thought about Jamestown and New England. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to read it. Ms. Oberle and Ms. Novari aren't going to read it. Nobody reads concluding paragraphs. Maybe your English teachers do, maybe they don't. History teachers generally don't, because by the time we get all the way down here, we've seen everything that we needed to see as far as your historical evidence and argumentation goes. But it's a 5-paragraph essay, so we need a 5th paragraph. Make your conclusion short and sweet. Don't sweat it out. Just tack it on and get it done. Okay, when you write your argument, that's always the toughest part of the paper. So if you keep in mind, your argument consists of 2 parts, your description of the difference and your explanation of why that difference occurred. So I have a sample argument here from my fictitious Pennsylvania and Maryland paper. I'm going to let you read that, and then when you get done, unpause. Okay, so you read the argument. Now let me show you where it comes from. If I go to my term paper worksheet and I go to my sample, here is my difference described. Government and politics were different in Pennsylvania and Maryland. Topic plus colonies, capital because, and then I explained the difference. I cut myself off here, didn't I? All right, you can't see me. There we go. Ooh, now I'm all over. Then I explained the difference over here. The difference in government politics was explained by religion, my one topic. So look at those 2 sentences. Look at my sample. There is sentence number 1, straight out of the term paper pre-writing tab. Here is sentence number 2, straight out of the term paper pre-writing tab. It's all finished and ready to go. You've already got it done. So that's how you write your argument. So if you do your pre-writing worksheet correctly, this part will fly. So I bet you're wondering, well, what does a complete paragraph look like? Here you go. Here is a sample. Again, pause and read through this, and then we're going to pick up and talk about it. Okay, now that you've read the sample paragraph, you see that the first sentence, your T, just tells us which of the topics you're writing on. Each of your body paragraphs can start the same as this, just swap out the topic, and of course, don't say Pennsylvania and Maryland. I labeled it with T for my thesis or topic in this case. Then I went into Pennsylvania, and my information from class, there it is. And then I followed up with my outside information. So if I go to my research tab, there's my information from class. There's my supplemental research that I found. There's my information from class. There's my supplemental research that I found. Then I went into Maryland, research from class, followed by my supplemental. Research from class, supplemental. I just put them in order straight off of that research tab on my worksheets. I didn't have to do anything else. Then I went down here, put my E in, of course, and I pulled my 2 arguments. Those came from my pre-writing worksheet. Here and here, I just copied them over and stuck them into the end of my paragraph with that all-important A at the end. So the body paragraph is already there. It's in your pre-writing worksheets. You just have to pull all the different component parts and put them together into a cohesive paragraph. Pretty simple. At least I make it sound simple. But you'll find that if you did the pre-writing worksheets thoroughly and accurately, the body paragraph just puts itself together. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the research and style. Because you have information in your paper that's not from your brain or from class, your outside information, you must cite that. You must give credit to the place that you got that information from. And you do that by using an in-text citation. So if we go back to our sample, you see here, here's my in-text citation for my first piece of information. It's in parentheses. Here's my in-text citation for my second piece of information in parentheses. So you just put that in-text citation, you attach it to the end of the first sentence, which has your outside information. Now, you also, I'm all over the place here, need to have a corresponding entry. So everything that's listed in your in-text citation, everything in parentheses, has to have an entry in your references page. That's what we use. We call it APA style, American Psychological Association. That's the style that governs the writing of our paper. They don't have a bibliography or a works cited page. They call it references. It appears at the end of your paper, and it's a list of all your sources in alphabetical order. Super important. Alphabetical order. So if I have an in-text citation here from William Penn in American History 2016, I should have an entry in my references page that has William Penn in American History 2016. If I have an in-text citation from someone named Stephan from 1993, I need a full reference in my references page for Stephan 1993. So this is the coolest thing ever. If you go to your supplemental research worksheet, you see I've got a column here. So as soon as you plug in your outside information and your websites, you can put in your paper what the in-text citation would look like and what your reference entry would look like. Woo! It's already done. And this is the best part, folks. If you click on this link, it's called Scribr. It will tell you that information. So you don't have to figure out what does it look like, how do I write it. Scribr will do that for you. So when you click on the Scribr link, it's going to ask you if you want to enter your URL. If you put in the website the information came from, so just paste this into this and hit the search thing. Sometimes you might get lucky and it will autofill everything for you. I did a couple. I did not get lucky on any of them. But try it and see. If it doesn't work, Then you go down to this part, and I'm going to use this page as my sample. This is my website that I used here. So the first thing it's going to ask me is the title. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to copy the title straight off of this, copy that. It's too much to type and I don't want typos. Oops, and it has a whole bunch of typos in it. I guess when I cut and pasted it, it did not work. So got to do a little cleanup. Oh, I think it's when it broke across that page break that when I cut and paste it. That didn't work out as great as I thought, but it's still better than retyping the whole thing. Maybe not. From gentleman to Townsend. Yeah, this was an epic fail as far as cut and pasting go, and I probably would have been better off just typing it. But it's done now. URL is the website. Copy that. This time I know it'll work. Paste in the website. Now it's going to ask for the authors, the initials of the author. So it's Charles G. Steffen. So it is C.G. Steffen. If it's just a first name, you just put C. If you don't know the author, then you click unknown. If there is an organization with, if it's an organization, you click this box. So this is C.G. Steffen. But let's say we have an article where we don't know the author, you just click unknown and it skips that. Or if it's a website and it's just like the American Association of Historians, you type that in. So, but we're just going to go back. I'm tired of saying it. C.G. Steffen. No first names, just initials. Okay, publication date. Looks like he published this in 1993. You'll notice you just need a year. You don't need the specific days if they're not available. Again, if you don't know when it's published, click unknown. Usually on websites, if you scroll to the very bottom, it'll have a date down there of when that last was updated as a website. That's the date you should use. Date accessed, 19 July 2020. That's the date that I found the information. And then the name of the website, this is UK Knowledge. Okay, so I click Cite My Source. Boom, here is my reference page entry, and you can click to copy it. They give you a couple different variations of it. Either of these are fine. I always go with the first choice because it's the most recent. So if you click it, you'll see it's copied, and then you can paste it straight into this column. Now, for your citation, you'll notice if I hovered over it, if I click in-text citation, it's going to generate, drum roll is slowing. There we go. Steffen, 1993, looks like I had a typo. Click, it's copied. I pasted it right in here so that I can use it in my paper and it's ready to go. So please use Scribr for all of your entries. Put your sources in. I did it right away. Then go to Scribr, put in the information, generate your in-text citations and your references right away so that they're finished. Okay. You also have to make a title page, and APA has very specific instructions for what title pages should look like. But if you go to EasyBib, and this is a link I will post on Google Classroom, and EasyBib is a template for title pages. You want to leave the default the same. Don't change that. Title of your paper, The Colonies, ho-hum. The war between Jamestown and New England. I'm a horrible typer. I don't know. Always nice to have a subtitle. Running head. You'll see the running head is a short version of your title. Well, my colonies can't get much shorter, but I could say Jamestown and New England. I bet everybody's running head is going to be the same after watching this. You put in your first name, your last name, spell your name correctly. Ooh, pressure. Institution, Belleville Township High School West. Use our long names, it sounds more official. Leave it as docx and then create title page. And it's going to download that title page as a Word doc. Everything's formatted. There's your running head, your page number, your colonies. What you can do is do save as Google Docs. What I would do, I recommend, I hope you guys are with me. My little person vanished. I would recommend pasting your paper into that Google Doc and then saving it, paste everything else on starting on page 2, paste everything that you've written, and then click File, Save as Google Doc. Double check your formatting, make sure it's good. Put your references on there if you didn't, and then you've got it finished. Again, Scribber and EasyBib, those links are available to you. Scribber's at the top of the worksheet page, and EasyBib, I'll share that link. Final thing is your mechanics in the term paper. Spelling, punctuation, grammar all count in academic writing. Make sure they're good. Don't say, oh, I don't know punctuation rules or comma rules, and just don't do it. You need to make sure that it's correct. No first person and no contractions in your paper. Isn't, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't, not allowed. No I, me, my, our, you, are, your. Your pops up in there, and our always pops up in papers. Don't use our because that includes you as part of it. Also, just one thing, it's a pet peeve. Colonist, the word colonist is lowercase, and if you're talking about one person, it's colonist singular, not plural. People screw that up every year. You can certainly use Grammarly. They'll catch a lot of your mistakes. I encourage you to do it, but it's not foolproof. So always look it over or have someone else look your paper over for you for mechanics. Okay, folks, that's a lot of information. Go back to this video as many times as you need when you have questions. If you can't figure it out from watching the video, after watching the video, email or ask your instructor and we'll be glad to help you out. And as always, have a great day.